cooking with gas. All right, thanks for coming out today. We covered a lot of ground last week on opening bids and first responses. And it's going to be a prevailing theme throughout these lessons. There's two things we're trying to find out on any bridge hand. Does our side have enough points for game? And do we have an 8-card major suit fit? Now, there's one other piece that isn't a things we're trying to figure out, but it's advice. Once you figure out that your side has enough points for game, or excuse me, once you figure out that your side doesn't have enough points for game, and you're in a good landing spot, pass is an excellent way to describe that to your partner. Now, how many of y'all weren't here last week? A few of you. So we are going to do, and for their benefit and their benefit only, a little bit of review. If I open the hand, just put this on. If I open the hand 1 spade, what do I have? 5 spades. Okay, at least 5 spades. And how many points?
12.
See, I'd go with 12. Anytime I open the bidding, I'm going to have either a 12 count or a hand that evaluates to a 12 count by its combination of high card points and lengthened suits. I'm going to use something, or I would encourage that you use something called the Rule of 22. Rule of 22 is, I call it a rule, it's really a guideline, but if you have a hand with high card points, cards in 2 longest suits, and quick tricks, if that adds up to 22 or more, you have a hand that's worthy of an opening bid. Okay?
Ed?
Yes.
I'm sorry, I have a question.
Yes.
If you hit the 12 points and 5 spades, though, do you need to then do the 22?
That's a great question. Her question was, if you hit the 12 points, do you really need to calculate the rule of 22? I don't, unless the hand is ultra balanced with a 4-card suit and 3 3-card suits.
So if it hits that first criteria, you just don't go into the next step.
Yes, the rule of 22 exists to, well, I don't quite have 12 points, but does my length and my strength and my quick tricks give me a hand that's enough above average in its ability to take tricks to open the bid? So very quick on the rule of 22, I have this hand. How many high card points?
11.
I've got 11. So I don't have an automatic opener with a 12 count. So I'm going to figure out, does the length and quick tricks give me a hand that's enough above average in its ability to open the hand? How many cards are my 2 longest suits?
9.
I've got 9. So 11, 9. And how many quick tricks?
1, 2, 3.
Actually, I have 3. Ace, King is 2. Ace is 1. Okay. The rest of the quick tricks is King, Queen is 1. King X is a half. And Ace, Queen is 1.5. Okay. So here I've got 3 quick tricks. That equals 23. So is this an opening hand? Yes. Okay. So, and I can play around with this and start taking stuff away
Oh, yeah.
until it's not an opening hand. Okay, I turn the ace into a king. Now, let's do the same calculation. How many high card points? 10. How many cards are my 2 longest suits? 9. And how many quick tricks?
2.5.
1.5.
Okay. Ace King is 2. King X is 1.5, so this is 2.5. So that is
21 and a half.
21.5, which is almost an opening hand. Now, how do we describe hands that are almost an opening hand when it's our turn to bid?
Pass.
Pass. Okay? So if it's almost an opening hand, this, but you pass. Does this make some sense? Okay, and doing this calculation is a good activity to do when you are trying to get better at this game. Because opening the hand is something that most people do the same. Okay? I'm going to put this hand back up here. And I'm going to make it a little better. Just because I can. Okay? Pretty much everyone in Richmond, every Life Master in Richmond, you give them this hand. You say, is this an opening hand? And they will say, yes. And then you ask them, how will you open this hand? And they will say, one spade. Every single time? Pretty darn much. Every single time. There usually aren't that many nuances in figuring out whether you have an opening hand. Yes, ma'am.
If those spades were diamonds and the diamonds were spades, still everybody in Richmond would open it.
Yep. They wouldn't feel as good about it.
And they wouldn't open one spade.
And they wouldn't open one spade. Seriously, the first, do I have an opening hand is the same test you do every single time. Does my high card points, cards of my 2 longest suits, and quick tricks add up to 22 or more? And if it does, you have an opening hand. After that, you figure out how to open it. Does that make some sense? So yes, is this an opening hand? And if so, what do I do with it? Other questions? Yes, ma'am.
Is it always a balanced hand, but in this particular hand it's unbalanced, majority of the time?
Actually, I'm going to do some quick math. Sort of. Okay, there's 3 balanced hand shapes that do not have any voids, any singletons, and not more than one doubleton. So when you're looking at opening no trump, this is actually somewhere in your book. I'm going to say that these 3 hand shapes occur about 40% of the time. Okay, so 40% of the time you're going to have one of these 3 hand shapes. Actually, the 4x3, which conceptually I would think would occur more often, is the 5th most common occurring bridge shape. Happens about 10% of the time. So about 40% of the time you're going to have a balanced hand, and 60% of the time you're going to have an unbalanced hand. Was that your question? Okay. Other questions? All right. Last week we talked about responding as well. And this will bring us into today's lesson. My partner opens the bid 1 of a suit. Partner opens 1 spade. I have 2 ways to immediately limit my hand. And when I say limit my hand, I say, partner, I don't have any less than this, I don't have any more than this. So you should have a pretty good idea whether we have enough points for game or not. Okay? And those ways are by either raising your suit or bidding no trump. Anytime during an auction, if I bid a suit that's been bid before, or if I bid no trump, I'm limiting my hand. Okay. This is going to be 6 to 10, 11 to 12, and 13 to, I'll say 15 for the 3 no trump. Okay, so the auction goes 1 spade past 2 spades. How many points does the opener have?
Opener has at least 12.
12 plus.
12 plus. Okay, and how many points does the 2 spade responder have? 6 to 10. Now, before I get into this, and we're about to delve into today's lesson, I'm going to remind you, if responder doesn't do one of these things immediately, they have not limited their hand. Okay? If responder changes suits, responder has not limited their hand. So we have the auction goes 1 diamond past 1 spade. The diamond opener has a diamond opener. Couldn't open a major, couldn't open no trump. Diamonds are at least as long as they're clubs. 12 to 19 points, give or take. Okay. The 1 spade opener has 4 spades. Tends not to have 4 hearts because they would have been 4 hearts with 4 of both. And they are unlimited in their points. They've got a floor. They're not going to have less than 6. When I say they're not going to have less than 6, what do I mean? What I mean is, and go back, you should keep bidding until you're convinced that your side doesn't have enough points for game. Okay, so if opener can have up to 19 points and you have a 4 count as responder, you have an excellent way to describe that hand.
Pass.
Yes. Okay, so when this person bids a spade, they've got at least 6. Or something that they will say look like 6 in the, when you perform the autopsy of a hand. And usually when I refer to looking at a hand afterward as an autopsy, it means that something very, very bad happened. Okay, so if you're performing an autopsy of a hand and you decide to respond with 4 points, one of my favorite bridge players has a rule. He said, I don't care how convoluted the auction got, whoever made the first unusual bid, everything else that happened afterwards is their fault. Okay, so if you decide to respond with a 4 count, you know, sometimes it works, and when it doesn't, just go! Oh, well, yeah, it felt like the right thing to do. I couldn't leave you on 1 club because I only had 1 club. Has anyone ever thought that? Yeah. And is that a valid thought?
No.
Well, yeah. Doesn't mean you shouldn't pass, but it's a valid thought. It's like, you know, I really like my partner. I don't want him to play 1 club. I only have 1 club. Okay, again, 4 points. You've got a really good way to describe your hand. Questions before we delve into today's lesson? Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, could you talk about that less than 6-point hand as a responder again? Because you talked about it last week and I may have misunderstood. But you said that 1 spade, 3 spades could mean you had 4 spades and less than 6 points.
Now you were actually paying attention last week. Okay. And that was not an immediate, that was after interference.
Oh.
Okay. This is 1 club or 1 something pass, and I get to describe my hand. And what I gave you was 1 spade, 2 clubs. This person overcalls 2 clubs. And then when they overcall 2 clubs, I've got other ways to describe spade support. And what we talked about last week was an immediate Q bid is going to be a good hand. And any other spade bid I make is going to be less than a good hand, but have potentially a fistful of spades. Okay. So I'm glad someone was paying attention last week. That just fills my heart with joy. Any other questions? And let me, you know, I don't want to give that short shrift. We aren't going to talk. We really aren't going to talk about this much. But I've got this hand. One spade, two clubs. My partner opens a spade and the next person bids two clubs. Well, do I think we should play this hand? I do. If I pass, is it quite possible we end up defending two clubs? Yeah, because my partner very possibly has lengthened clubs, and if I'm a passed hand, he may not have a reason to reopen the auction. Okay? So, do I have a good hand?
No.
No, but I got a fistful of spades.
Yes.
I do. Boy, I'm glad my partner didn't open with diamonds, because then I'd be stuck. But here, I can jump to three spades. Now, this is important. Okay, I say that on occasion. This is really important. If you have discussed with your partner that jumping to three spades after an overcall is weak, you can jump to three spades. If you are sitting across from somebody who has not heard this, what will they think in all likelihood?
Invitation.
Ed has a good hand. Ed has 11 to 12 points. To the moon, six spades. Double, redouble, down three. God, I hate this thing. Okay? So, yeah. Do not do this unless you've discussed it with your partner. Okay? Because it sounds like an invitational bid until you've had the discussion. Of course, with this hand, just taking a little further, what do I do with this hand? One spade, two clubs,
Four spade?
four spades. Okay? Now, now what do I have?
11 points.
Oh my! This is a nice hand. What can we make on this hand?
Game? Game?
Oh, we're definitely making game. Opposite any piece of crud my partner opened, we're making game. Do I have interest, sort of interest in slam?
Yes.
So what do I bid?
Three clubs.
Okay, I'm going to Q bid the opponent's suit. At least invitational. Okay? And my partner is going to think, even if you're sitting across from somebody that doesn't know what they're doing, I guarantee you they will not pass three clubs. And I say that, and I've got someone laughing who's quite possibly played three clubs on a hand such as this. Yeah, three clubs is a cubit. When I first started playing, my partner had just one rule. I don't care what we play, just don't pass any of my cubits. Which is a good rule, because if I'm cubitting, by definition, I'm bidding the suit that the opponents have bid before. Okay, I do not want to play in their suit. Okay, so I'm going to use a cubit to show something else. Here shows at least an invitational hand. Yes, sir.
Q-bidding is like a big black hole to me. Is there any place to read, find something to read about Q-bidding?
I am going to guess, and this is just a
What was the question?
The question was, is there any good place to read about cue bidding? My guess is that there is a book in the back, and it's ironically called Modern Bridge Conventions. I say ironically because it was probably written in 1990 something. Written by Bill Root and Havlicek, that will discuss cue bidding. Yes, ma'am.
Is that what you do only if you have this agreement that a jump would be a weak bid?
Yes. But I would encourage you to play that a jump shows a weak bid. Otherwise, you really don't have a good way to bid the hand that has the lousy hand, but it has spade support. Okay, I've got this 3-point hand with 4 spades, or this 1-point hand with 4 spades, where I just want to get in the auction. I want to make things difficult for the opponents, and I know we have a fit. Well, if you don't have the agreement that jumping shows a weak hand with a fit, you're just stuck. Bidding 2 spades would actually be an overbid with a 1 point, with a 1 count. Yes, sir.
You've got 1 spade, 3 spades, is 11 or 12 points.
Without interference.
Without interference.
Yes.
With interference, 1 spade, 3 spades. It could be stronger still, or is it purely a weak bid?
Well, no, with interference, all my good hands are going to start with a cue bid. Okay? All my strong hands are going to start with a cue bid. And everything else is less than a cue bid. Okay? Good question. Question here?
That weak bid. Suppose if you, so your partner has to bid, right, after 4 spade.
Oh, no, my partner is invited to pass.
But then you end up playing 4 spade, and if you count it, if you calculate the high point and length and all that, you are not near the game.
Ah.
The game point, right?
Has anybody here ever made 10 tricks without having enough points for game?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I've got, and take away these aces and just make them little cards. Okay, if my partner has a singleton heart and a my partner has a singleton heart and the ace of spades and the ace of diamonds, we're going to make 4 spades. I don't really care where his other 4 points are. We're going to end up losing a club, a diamond, and a heart. Okay. Shapely hands with big fits take lots of tricks. Yes, sir.
And if there's interference, how many points do you need to respond to the cue, not to make an invitation?
About the same kind of hand that I would have had for 1 spade past 3 spades. Okay, so if I was always going to invite, then instead of inviting by jumping, I'm inviting by cue bidding. Okay, good question.
Why would you do that?
Because I don't like the opponents. I want to get in their way. I want to say, I don't want to give you free reign in this auction and have you talk back and forth. I want to make you guess. Because sometimes you guess right and sometimes you guess wrong. Okay? Yes, ma'am.
I got one more question. Would you only do this kind of 3 spades, 4 spades, 3 club thing if you had majors? If your partner opened with a major, you wouldn't do that with minors, would you?
I actually would.
Oh, okay.
So 1 diamond, 1 spade, 2 spades shows a good hand with support of diamonds.
Right.
And 1 diamond, 1 spade, 3 diamonds shows a piece of cheese with diamonds. Okay. And now, I hate to do this, but I'm going to Forrest Gump here. Okay. That's all I'm going to say about that, because we're going to move on. Okay. Love Forrest Gump. Any questions? No, hey, take that back. Moving on. Nothing to see here. Now I am going to do this a little differently than I've done in the past. We have some common sense bids that I need to introduce you to. Okay? The auction has gone 1 spade past 2 spades. How many high card points? I have a 13 count. So I open this fine hand 1 spade. Next person passed. My partner bids 2 spades. How many points does he have? 6 to 10. When I do this calculation, I give him 10. Okay, and I say, if my partner has the most he can possibly have, do we have enough points for game? Okay, if partner has the World's Fair over there, do we have enough points for game? So if partner has a 10 count, do we have enough points for game? No. Okay, so do I have a good way to describe this hand?
Pass.
Pass. Partner, we have a fit. Based on what you told me, we do not have enough points for game. Okay, so I am going to pass. Doesn't mean I have to pass throughout if the next person reopens bidding, but for now, I want to show you a hand that doesn't have interest in game opposite your simple response. Does that make some sense?
Good.
Questions? All right, you're going to like this.
Ed,
Yes.
since you have he has got 3 spades to support you,
Yes.
would you have a fit?
Yes.
Won't you add the distribution points? Then you can fit.
Well, I can play, but I still don't have enough points for game. And think of it, and she's talking about adding distribution points. Distribution points in my hand are not as valuable as distribution points in my partner's hand. Okay. How many spade tricks? Give my partner the king of spades. How many spade tricks are we going to take on this hand?
5.
We're going to take 5. Now, does it matter where my other 8 cards are? Not really. I'm still going to take 5 spade tricks with this hand. Whether I'm trumping the initial club or whether I'm trumping the 3rd club. Okay, I still have 8 cards to cover outside of spades. So shortness in my hand, I'm not going to say it's not good. And because I've got shortness in one hand, I've got length in the other. I might be able to, for instance, set up my 4th heart for a trick. If my partner has 3 of them or 4 of them, and if he doesn't, I might be able to trump one on the board before pulling all the trump. But shortness in my hand is not worth as much as shortness in my partner's hand. Okay? Because if he has 3 trump and I've got 5, if we can trump something in his hand, all of a sudden, instead of taking 5 trump tricks, we're taking more than 5. And more than 5 is good. Okay. Yes, ma'am.
When you say my hand, are you speaking as the opener or the responder?
I would prefer having shortness in the responder hand, because if you have 3 spades and a singleton heart fitting with this hand, your singleton heart is very valuable, because I can trump a couple of these itty-bitty hearts before pulling trump. And instead of taking 5 spade tricks, we may end up taking 7 spade tricks. Okay, so much rather have shortness in the responder hand than in the opening hand when the opener is open in a major. All right, now I have another hand for you. How many high card points?
19.
19. And I open this fine hand 1 spade, and my partner says 2 spades, and I say, do we have enough points for game?
Yes.
Yes. Do we have an 8-card major suit fit?
Yes.
Yes. So I bid
4 spades.
4 spades. Okay. So, and now's the fun part. So, and I'll give you something to summarize after this. 1 spade, pass, 2 spades, pass. What do I do?
3 spades.
Okay. So, do I have interest in game?
Yes.
Okay, do I have, and jumping to 4 spades right away might be, what's the word I'm looking for?
Dangerous.
Presumptuous.
Overeager.
Bad. Well, and you know, people do this all the time. I'm gonna make a risky bid, and my partner hits with a 10 count, and yo, life is good. Okay, 4 spades, and my partner has a 10 count, and yeah, we're making 4 spades all day long. Okay, so we understood the first 2 bids. If you don't have any interest in game, you pass. If you want to be in game, you bid game. If you have interest in game, you bid anything else. Okay. If I don't want to be in game, I pass. If I want to be in game, I bid game. If I have interest in game, I will bid anything else. Okay. And my partner should know this. So if I choose to bid with this particular hand, 3 hearts, do I have interest in game?
Yes.
I do, because if I didn't have interest in game, I would have
Pass.
passed. Okay? And my partner will look at his hand and think, okay, first of all, we have a spade fit. Why is my partner introducing a new suit? He must have interest in game. Because if he didn't have interest in game, he wouldn't mention his second suit. He would just pass and we would play 2 spades. Okay? So with this hand, I can bid 3 hearts, which says, some people call it a help suit game try. This is actually a natural bid. It says, partner, I have spades, I have interest in game, I also have hearts. Look at your hand as it relates to hearts. If you have good holdings, if you have high cards and spades and hearts, those are going to be very valuable. Your high cards and diamonds and clubs are not going to be worth as much. For instance, if my partner had the queen of diamonds and the queen of clubs, are those valuable to me? Not really. But the queen of hearts would be valuable. So if I have interest in game, I can bid anything else. Yes, ma'am.
Can you describe that shortness in hearts would be valuable too, right?
Absolutely. So my partner has
Shortness or points?
a singleton heart and he's got spades. Yeah, my hand got better because my partner has hearts. I don't have hearts. So I'm going to
4 little hearts, is that supporting hearts?
4 little hearts is not good. Okay, because 4 little hearts, actually with 4 little hearts, I bid 4 hearts. 4 4-fits tend to play better than 5 3-fits, and my partner can correct. Want to get the point across. If I don't want to be in game, I pass. If I want to be in game, I bid game. If I have interest in game, I bid anything else. And the anything else could be 3 spades. Here, I'd really like to know whether my partner has help for me in hearts. If he has 3 small hearts, I probably don't have it. I probably don't want to be in game. If he has 3 small clubs, that doesn't bother me even a little bit. Yes, ma'am.
What's that bid called? Is that anything else?
Anything else is anything else.
I
some
can't
pe-
go to my bridge encyclopedia.
Some people specifically call it a help suit game try. If you're bidding a suit where you'd like to know whether your partner can help you in the suit, it's called a help suit game try. Okay. You could just bid 3 spades and count that as your only invitational bid. But there are, once you get to the point of anything else I bid shows interest in game, then you can bid suits other than 1 spade, 2 spades, 3 spades.
So if having interest in game means that 10 plus what I have, or why would I do that instead of, because I have say, a 16 count or not a 19?
But because with this hand, if my partner has 6 points and 3 spades, I probably don't want to be in game. But I'm big enough that if he's at the upper end of his bid, I do want to be in game. So I don't want to just pass and have him have a 10 count. I don't want to bid 4 spades and have him have a 6 count. So I need a...
At 6 to 10, is he promising me 3 spades?
Yep, absolutely, positively. We have a fit. We have at least 3 spades, could be 4. So I know we have a fit, and he's got at least 6, and no more than 10. Yes, ma'am.
If the responder has got only 6 points, he will go to 3 spades.
He will go, and yes, thank you for that. 3 hearts is an invitational bid. It says, partner, I have interest in playing 4 spades. Okay, so look at your hand, and your next bid is probably going to be 3 spades or 4 spades. 3 spades is, I don't want to be in game. 4 spades is, good luck, play well. Good question. Other questions? Yes, ma'am.
What's the minimum point count on the invitational hand?
Bridge is a fun game. Okay? What do I need from my partner to make game on this hand?
13 points.
So what do I need from my partner to make game on this hand?
Suit.
Right. The queen of spades, the king of diamonds. Okay? King of diamonds is worth gold on this hand. King of clubs, not so much. Okay, so with this hand, personally, I'd bid 3 diamonds. Partner, look at your hand, and if you have support for me in diamonds, or good diamonds, I want to be in game. If you don't, let's try to make 3 spades. Yes, sir.
So on that, the bid you mentioned, when you bid 3 hearts, I understand the responder being able to respond 3 spades or 4 spades, but are they allowed to leave you in 3 hearts?
No, not more than once.
Well, let's say your responder had 3 spades, that's why he bid 2 spades, but now happens to have 4 or 5 hearts.
Right, but when I'm making, and yes, hearts may play better than spades, but if I'm making it, if I'm showing at least an invitational hand, and you have heart support for me, I'd rather hear 4 hearts from you than pass. Okay, so passing 3 hearts with heart support, if you actually have hearts, you can go to 4 hearts. Or you could go to 4 spades, but with partner having a hand where he's inviting, if I catch you with hearts, you're accepting. Okay, good question.
Can I add something else to that? This, just say you had a hand as an opener that had interest in slam. So you know the answer about 4 spades. But you have even more than that. You would do this. You would say, hey, you know what, let me find out where my partner lives, right? So you would bid 3 hearts, right? And now when your partner bids 4 hearts with 4 hearts, you're like, okay, now we're off to the races. On the other hand, if he bids 3 spades, you know to temporize. You know, okay, maybe slam's not realistic here, so you do not want to pass. I mean, and this is something that I think you all hear me say a little bit. It's about what you promise. All that and this other hand, it's really important that you only answer the question asked. So in this hand, it's a nice hand, it's also a lousy hand, right? So if you just have a 10 count, a random 10 count, you don't necessarily want to be in game, right? So when partner shows 3 diamonds, right, as his bid here, you don't want to say, oh well, I don't have what my partner asked for, right? I've got 3 baby diamonds, but I've got a 9-point hand. Well, partner will make it work and bid 4 spades. You're going to go down like the Titanic, and you're the only one going to be going down. So I think there are 2 things. One is, you can be using these bids if you're interested in slam as a way to get there, to know whether you're really interested. The second is answer the question that's asked, not another question, which is why you have all those bids, right? 3 spades would kind of ask your partner if your spades are any good, then go to 4. 3 hearts would say, hey, if your hearts are any good, go to 4. Trump is, hey, if you've got, points kind of all over the place, go to 4, right? So, anyway, maybe that was too much information or too little, but back to you. Back to the regularly scheduled show.
Yes, ma'am.
To follow through what Govind just said, to the 3 diamond, if the responder says 3 hearts.
Absolutely, and that was going to be what I was going to mention when Govind said, so I'm just sitting here minding my own business, my partner's bid 3 diamonds, and I've got this. I'm sitting here thinking to myself, okay, 1 spade, 2 spades. I'm at the top of my 2 spade bid. Okay. And my partner has shown interest in game by bidding 3 diamonds. Do I like diamonds? No. I have what's commonly known as the death holding in diamonds. I've got 3 small diamonds. The worst possible holding in any suit is 3 small. But do I have interest in game?
Yeah.
If my partner's interested, then yeah, I'm at the tippy top of what I could have. So instead of answering the question with 3 spades, which would be no, I'm going to give you a no but. I don't like diamonds, but I'm near the top of my bid, and I have hearts. Okay, so the answer to your question is no, I don't like diamonds, but I'm near the top of my bid, and I have a useful card for you if that helps you. And then it's back over to my partner. My partner can bid 3 spades or 4 spades, depending on whether he wants to be in game, opposite of helpful hands such as this.
Or he can bid 4 hearts.
No.
He wouldn't bid for, in theory he could, but I'd just take him back. I'd probably take him back to 4 spades. He probably isn't bidding 3 diamonds with a 4-card heart suit. All right, we are getting, I'm not going to say off track, because this is important. I want to get you 1 spade past 2 spades. If I don't want to be in game, I pass. If I do want to be in game, I bid game. If I have interest in game, I bid anything else. Okay? Okay? And the anything else can be convoluted, but think about it. I've got a 16 count. I can show interest in game just by not passing. Yes, ma'am.
Now, in this scenario, the opener can't pass at 3 hearts if he likes that better because your responder has changed suits, so he has to bid again?
Actually, he could, because once I've limited my hand, and this is an important concept, once I've limited my hand, I've told you I got no more than 6 to 10, unless my partner forces me to bid again, which is pretty darn hard to do, once I've limited my hand, I can usually pass. Now here, 3 hearts may not be a real suit. I would also bid 3 hearts this. I don't really have hearts. I have no interest in playing hearts, but I've got a good holding in hearts that may benefit my partner.
What do you do if your points say are in clubs?
Well, then I'm
You're
just
just gonna
stumped.
raise the spade?
Yeah, then I go back to 3 spades. Here, and that's a good point. Here I've got the ability to show hearts along the way. If this is my hand, okay, my partner's asked me a specific question. What do you think about diamonds? What do I think about diamonds? I don't like them. So I've got 2 choices. I can answer my partner's question, and how would I answer my partner's question? By bidding 3 spades. Or I can say, you know, my partner has interest in game, and I've got the World's Fair for him, except in diamonds. I'm going to bid 4 spades. If your partner asks you a question, answer his question. Now, personally, 4 spades may work. Okay? Hey, I'm a hero. My partner said he had interest in the game, and I said, you know, I didn't have what he asked for, but I decided to take us to game anyway. And if we make, good things happen. And if we don't, we're probably going to have a conversation that I'm not going to enjoy very much. 4 spades could work. 3 spades is right.
The point is answer the question asked.
Answer the question asked.
And the
All right.
opener is the captain because you have limited your hand.
Actually, no. The opener turned captaincy over to me. Captaincy is the person who gets to decide where we play. Once my partner invites me by bidding 3 diamonds, I'm in charge. Once I give it back to him, he's in charge. But for now, if I have a 7 count with the ace of spades and the king of diamonds, 7 count with the ace of spades and king of diamonds, or king of spades and ace of diamonds, is enough for me to go. All right. One more thing where my partner's limited his hand. This came up the other night with one of my favorite partners. And it was mildly amusing. Just going to say. Opener has a hand such as this. Okay, is this an opening bid?
Yep.
Yep. So, person opens 1 spade and partner says 1 no. Do we have interest in game?
No.
No. Are we in our best spot? Probably not. Once my partner's limited his hand, I can change suits. And we are no longer in a forcing auction. New suits by opener that are less than the suit that they opened are not forcing. Okay, this bid is, you've limited your hand, I've got spades and clubs. We likely want to play in one of my suits, but no trump does not look like a recipe for success.
That's not a statement?
It's not, because I opened a club, or I opened a spade. Okay, so I've got spades and clubs. Let's play in one of my suits, because no trump probably is not going to be a thing of success. Now, what happened at the table is pass. Opening lead was a diamond. And bad things started happening. Okay? So, once you've limited your hand, I can bid a new suit that doesn't become forcing if you limited your hand with 1 no trump, but it says, let's play in one of my suits, or let's play in a suit instead of no trump. Doesn't say I have a good hand. Just says one of my suits is probably better than no trump. Does that make some sense? Any questions? Yes, ma'am.
What kind of hand would your partner have to return to no trump as the proper bid?
You as the proper bid,
No?
one with 14 cards. I'd say that somewhat jestingly. If you have a 10 count Doubleton in the black suits, I
Bid two
may
spades.
go. What's that?
Bid two spades, even then.
I mean, no trump. Once I said I don't have any interest in. Once I've limited my hand, I don't need to limit it again. Okay. So with Doubletons in both blacks, you can go back to two spades. Two no trump really, really, really doesn't exist. Yes, ma'am.
The one trump response by the respondent, does it have to be a balanced hand, or
Nope.
is it only showing 6 to 10?
It's showing 6 to 10 and it doesn't have spades for it. Could have 6 hearts to the nothing and a 6 count. In which case, after this, okay, one spade, pass. I'm not big enough to bid a new suit at the 2 level because that needs at least 10 points. 11 would be better. Don't have a fit, so all that's left is one no trump. So I bid a no trump. My partner bids 2 clubs.
Pass. Pass.
I could pass, or I could be the hero. I have a 6-card major I haven't mentioned. Let's try this. Do I have a good hand? No. I already told you I didn't have a good hand. I got 6 to 10 points. I've got 6 hearts. So I may bid 2 hearts. Now when I say I may bid 2 hearts, it would be better if my suit were something like this. But God bless America, I don't always have stuff like this. Okay. Let's try 2 hearts. You think that no trump isn't a good spot for us? I've got hearts. Still not showing more than 6 to 10 points. I don't have more than 6 to 10 points if it goes to spade, pass, and no trump. Questions, comments?
Well, that was my question. And so if you're opener, you're just, whatever he says, he's captain and you're passing. Right? I mean, cause you said we got a minimum hand. Pick clubs or spades, he picked hearts. Or she picked hearts.
And onward we go. That'll work. And now I think. Open a spade, my partner bid a no trump, denying spade support. No trump doesn't look right, so I bid 2 clubs. 2 clubs doesn't necessarily deny having a reasonably good hand. I just happen to have a hand where I think we should play in one of the blacks as opposed to one of the reds. Okay. And my partner bids 2 hearts. Is it possible I now have interest in game?
Yeah.
What does my partner have for his 2 heart bid?
5 hearts.
Does he need 10 points?
He doesn't need 10 points. He could just have a 6 count, but he should have 6 hearts. Otherwise, he's probably going to prefer one of my suits. And if he has 6 hearts,
Move an 8 count. Are you looking for the 8
well, I don't know
count?
if we can make it or not, but we certainly don't seem to have many losers outside of the heart suit.
Yes.
Okay, so even though once my partner comes alive with another bid, I get happy. 4 hearts right?
No.
You know, it seems right as I look at it. 3 hearts may be better, because I could catch my partner with a true piece of crud. Technical bridge term for a really bad bridge hand with 6 hearts. But I'm not going to pass 2 hearts. Once we have a fit in a major, all of a sudden I have an interesting game on this hand. If partner were bidding diamonds and reverse the diamonds, not so much. All right. Yes.
Are you saying after the first one bid, one no trump, your second bid, even with less than 10 points, you can go to 2 hearts, provided you have a string of 6 cards in that suit? Does it have to be good?
No, but it would be nice if it were. Okay? And we haven't gotten to rebids by responder. Okay? Rebids by responder. It's my second turn to bid. If I bid after no trump's been bid, I can bid any suit through 2 of the suit that was open and show not a good hand. Okay? But with a 6-card suit. Actually, anytime I bid no trump and denied having more than 10 points, if it makes sense to bid a new suit, I can bid a new suit. And I don't have more than 10 points, because if I had more than 10 points, I would have bid 2 hearts to begin with. Questions, comments? This turned out to be an interesting make-believe hand. All right. So, to recap, after partner has limited their hand, 1 spade passed, 1 no trump. New suits by me are not necessarily good hands. They just show a hand where a suit contract makes more sense than no trump. And that can go all the way up to a jump shift, which is what we're going to talk about at some point after we take a break.
Nice to see you too.
Yeah.
I would have done the same thing on you, but I am going to recruit shopping
Another hand
if
that
I
they-
have
yesterday,
time.
interesting hand. Partner
Then
opens a
I'm
heart.
going
Just regular
to
old
my
heart.
nephews to see the baby. So,
Pass. You've got a 1 count, 0 hearts, 8 spades to 10. Look at that.